Thanks for waiting. You all know it's a pretty busy day here in Sacramento. I'm a member of Public Safety Committee. That is still going on, so I snuck out to come and have a very important conversation about a package of bills I'm proud to author. And after I finish, you're going to hear from the true experts on these issues. So again, thank you for coming. We're here today to formally introduce a new package of bills aimed at promoting economic and health equity to Californians who need it the most. We understand that economic health can depend on physical and mental health, and the same is true in reverse. My 2019 package includes 8 bills to support economic justice and 3 bills to promote health justice. And today, we're highlighting Senate Bill 144, the Families Over Fees Act, that was just heard in Senate Public Safety Committee. This bill would end the unfair imposition of administrative fees on people who become involved in the criminal justice system. This practice inflicts unfair debt on incarcerated people and their families long after they have served their time. Emphasis, served their time. SB 144 seeks to remove economic shackles on those who already paid their debt to society and makes reintegration into their communities, our communities, almost impossible. In 2017, Senate Bill 190 was part of my equity and justice package that I partnered with then Senator Ricardo Lara on. That bill eliminated juvenile fees. And so today, we move toward doing something similar for the rest of the population. In a 2018 study on the impact of probation fees in California, it showed that most counties do not track collection rates, suggesting that the fees are of little consequence to county budgets. Those that did track found low collection rates and a high cost of collection. I'll repeat that. They found low collection rates, yet a high cost for attempting to collect. The cost of collections was simply overly burdensome to counties and families alike. Last week, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors agreed to examine the application of fines, fees, and penalties, and they're expected to act on this, hopefully, this afternoon. Clearly, we are promoting a strong new vision for public safety, and we are ahead of the curve. Communities, courts, counties, and evidence-based studies make it abundantly clear that the fees are high pain and low gain, and that there is a better use for the resources of our families and working Californians. The takeaway for everyone should be prevention, invest in communities first. This package also aims to repair the CalWORKS Child Care Program, enhance the Fair Employment and Housing Act by ending housing discrimination against people based on the source of their income, and ending job and school discrimination against people who choose to wear their hair in natural hairstyles, typically associated with African American men and women. The package also contains provisions to put an end to predatory pricing in the medical credit card industry and seeks to rectify the morally unacceptable situation that finds Black and brown women in California continuing to die or be injured in childbirth at a rate much higher than the rest of the developed world. For more on any other bills, there are handouts available here. But for now, I would like to hear from a number of people who came to Sacramento today to provide their life experience and expert testimony with regard to fees and fines and their support of SB 144. You're going to hear presentations from Angelique Evans, who will talk about the need. She knows firsthand how trauma and neglect can destroy lives. She's passionate about helping others get their second chance at life. After Angelique, we're going to hear from Stacy Campos Bowie, who's a clinical supervising attorney with Policy Advocacy Clinic at the UC Berkeley School of Law. We're also going to hear from the young man we heard from in committee today, Matthew Tratner, who is here with his wife, Rachel. He talked about Rachel in committee today. Again, we appreciate you coming. Primarily, we'll be talking about SB 144, but the entire package of bills are available that focus on economic and health equity. Yes, come on. Go right ahead. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Angelique Evans. Thank you for having me. It's such an honor and a blessing to be here. I am a former resident and current policy fellow of a New Way of Life Reentry Project. I am here to discuss the effect that fines and fees have had on my life. Prison for anyone, including myself, is a struggle. Being paid 13 cents an hour while working as a cook in Chowchilla State Prison, while having the state take 55% of my monthly income, I felt cheated. I was only able to buy 1 bar of soap a month, which made me feel embarrassed and degraded. Coming home, I felt such a relief, but that did not last long. Almost immediately, I was notified of my past court and monthly fees. Again, I found myself in the same situation of feeling helpless. I'm not even able to take care of my son. As a mother, that makes me feel defeated and worthless. To make ends meet, I took on jobs that I knew my body could not handle, such as landscaping and solar installation. I was literally wearing myself out. Now that I look into the policy department, now that I work in the policy department of a New Way of Life Reentry Project, I am learning about the depths of these issues, and it breaks my heart. Paying fines and fees is completely impossible when most people released from prison essentially have no choice but to get government assistance. 83% of people on probation have annual incomes below $20,000. How are we supposed to take care of ourselves and our children? Each month I have to pay over $300 in fees alone. I spent 10 years in a penitentiary. Is that not payment enough? I am trying to do better for myself and my son and give him the life, love, and attention he deserves. I ask you to please consider eliminating fines and fees so that families like mine are able to succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Stephanie Campos-Bui, and I'm a supervising attorney in the Policy Advocacy Clinic at UC Berkeley School of Law. And since 2013, we've been researching the array of fees that our public safety systems and courts impose on people. As discussed in recent decisions by the California Courts of Appeals in Duenas and the U.S. Supreme Court in Timbs, monetary sanctions like fees are not meant to further any penal objective, but rather to augment the state's revenues. And yet, fees often don't even serve this purpose, since many cannot pay due to their indigence. Even still, the majority of counties across the state, although not required, charge fees. As a result, fee types, amounts, and practices vary widely across the state. For example, in Orange County, an adult on probation for 5 years can be charged over $11,000 in supervision and a pre-investigation report. And yet, just miles over in neighboring Riverside County, they would be charged $6,900. To protect individuals against excessive fees, state law allows, but does not always mandate, counties to consider an individual's income and resources before assessing fees. But in many instances, we found counties not conducting meaningful ability to pay determinations or any determinations at all, leaving many individuals with bills they simply cannot afford to pay and will never pay. And once imposed, these fees aren't just bills that disappear with time. They're ordered as civil judgments, which can be enforced via wage garnishment and tax rebate intercept. And as we all know, these fees disproportionately harm low-income people and people of color. Due to over-policing and targeted policing in communities of color, Black and brown people are punished more frequently and harshly at a variety of discretion points, which only leads to higher fee burdens for these communities. And though fees are intended to help local jurisdictions recoup costs, counties often recover only a small proportion of what they assess. For example, in Los Angeles County, only 4% of probation fees on active cases were collected. Records also show that in fiscal year 2017-18, the county spent $3.9 million to collect $3.4 million, resulting in a net loss of $500,000. And any of the impacted folks in this room, the real experts on these issues, will tell you that fees crowd out spending on positive social goods like food, housing, and healthcare. And a growing body of research shows that criminal justice debt correlates with a greater likelihood of recidivism, which not only harms public safety, but makes reentry for people that much harder. California has an opportunity here to take the lead in this country on fees. Nationally, the American Bar Association, the National Center for State Courts, and the U.S. Civil Rights Commission have all weighed in, and they all agree with the over 50 organizations in support of SB 144 that we must eliminate and reduce fees. Thank you.
I'm just going to ask if there's any press here, if you have any questions of me before Michael speaks, just because I have to get back to committee. So if there are any questions I need to answer, everyone here on the stage can certainly handle all your questions. Yes.
Have you done, I was looking through the materials, have you done an economic assessment? I know this money is very hard to measure, because it's, most of it's not collected, but how much this would cost local governments, courts? I didn't see much of that in the analysis so far.
No, because it was heard in policy committee today, and I'm sure that there will be plenty of opportunity in approach for that kind of analysis. I think what's most important was the statistic that was just shared, that the vast majority of the counties that collect it, that their admin costs to pursue the dollars exceed what they actually bring in. And so that complicates our ability to really get a fair, accurate assessment. Are we gonna count that $500,000 that they spent against the programs that these people are receiving as a benefit? So it's hard to really come up with a calculation. When we passed SB 190 that eliminated the juvenile fees, that continued to be a pressure point as well. But again, case after case, county after county, we saw evidence that the counties were spending more money administratively to collect it than they brought in. So it's hard to come up with that kind of fiscal assessment.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. It's on you all. You can.
Hi. Hi, my name is Matthew Tratner, and this is my wife, Rachel. Came here today to testify on this bill because coming out of incarceration, I got out last April. I was in for 5.5 years for a juvenile case. Thank God, I ended up overcoming all my circumstances, and I had a second opportunity at life, and in the institution, they consistently teach you about this word called rehabilitation. And yeah, they have little certain programs and things that kind of teach you, how to think and certain things, but rehabilitation goes beyond just a thought process. It's like also getting out. I'm understanding it's also, making a living and being a proper member of society. And the issue is that I see in me as, I guess you could say a victim of this, is being in, for so long, going in as a juvenile, coming out as an adult. I'm just learning how to pay bills, just learning how to establish credit, just learning how to do the things that I never thought that I could do in my life, and if it weren't for my faith in Jesus Christ, I would have, like I know many do not have this issue of losing hope for themselves due to the fact that they have additional court fees and things that hold them back from, per se, getting their first apartment or doing what they need to do to start giving back to the community. It's actually decreased the community than increase it at all, because then you got children reoffending, and yes, like I said, children because they were juveniles, but also, people that were in the adult penitentiaries reoffending because they lose hope. They're like, man, how am I supposed to do this if the community is not for me? Then how am I supposed to be there for myself? It's like all odds are against you, and that's what I've felt since I've got out. I'm just got married last December. We're having a child, and it's by the grace of God that we even have an affordable housing unit, that we're able to be in together, and it's been difficult, on top of restitution, I'm also paying these additional court fees that I had no knowledge of prior. In institution, no one gives you the knowledge of how much you owe or what, and it's been really difficult even for me to figure these things out, and it's been really stressful on her and I to be able to start establishing a home. I want to become a nurse one day, to be able to just help other people and give back to what I took away, and it's go to college, is even an additional thing that we have to. It's a cost of living. And I can't even go to college because I have to worry about my debt before I worry about, pursuing a future, and, giving back to the community in which I took from, and I mean, I served 1.5 years over in a prison camp, a fire camp, fighting fires for CAL FIRE. I fought the biggest fire in history, a 300,000 acre fire. I gave back to the community, you know, as much as I could possible, you know, and it's like, how, you know, I mean, I was out there, you know, on the fire line, you know, cutting thousands of acres, dangerous. I mean, fending for my life out there. It's no joke, you know, and we're getting paid what, $1 an hour, you know, tops, you know, and that's rough. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm definitely here to advocate for this bill, and that this thing would get passed would be a real help towards us being able to have a better future, you know, to, like my sister said, be able to have, you know, an opportunity to take care of our families, to take care of our children, to have a future, you know, and then teach our generation to become something greater than what, you know, we got brought up into, because the majority of us have,